Remember that movie True Grit? Not the remake from a couple of years ago, but I'm talking about the original one with John Wayne, Glenn Campbell, Kim Darby. I think it was like 1969. Well, Wayne finally, after a long career in Hollywood, won an Oscar for his performance. And during his Oscar winning acceptance speech, he said that if he had only known, he would have put that patch on his eye 35 years earlier. And I thought about that yesterday because yesterday, for the first time since March, I was feeling a little better and I decided, what the hell, I'll do a video report. And damn, after losing seemingly for weeks on end, I cashed in with my 15-time best bet last night, easily with the Suns. And here on the video report, I go 2-0 with the complimentary plays. Both of them run line dogs, cashing in with Philadelphia plus $1.10 and the Houston Astros plus $1.25. And I thought about that. It's like, all I had to do was shoot a video report. It was that easy. Not that I'm superstitious or anything, but yeah, I am back here again today for a reason, right? Yes. About that game last night, before we get to the complimentary plays today, it's kind of interesting because you saw, of course, who decided to play. And Giannis, of course, yesterday early in the day was doubtful. Then you saw him getting upgraded to questionable. And then, of course, about hour and a half before game time, you saw him out there on the floor. And, of course, you realize he eventually did play, did start, played 35 minutes, went 6 for 11 from the field. Second leading scorer in the Bucks with 20 points. Leading rebounder was 17. But what happened with the line? So you saw Phoenix, solid 6-point favorite early in the day. But that line only came down to 5.5. Not a massive move in terms of the point spread. But where it did make a big move is you saw the total go from about 217 up to about 220.5 to 221. Now, where did his playing impact that game? No ifs, ands, or buts. It impacted the total because that line could not get adjusted enough to compensate for him playing. If you had the under in that game last night, you got screwed because the guy scored 20 points. Now, is Bobby Portis, who had scored 5 points in 14 minutes off the bench, going to score 20 points? He may have. But the Bucks aren't going to be as good offensively. And I think that game easily stays under the posted price if it had stayed around that 217 mark if Giannis doesn't play. But he plays, and that's a big if because you didn't know, even though he was upgraded from doubtful to questionable and you saw him out there in pregame warm-ups, you weren't 100% sure. But once you saw that he was out there in warm-ups, you had to switch your bet. You had to go, if you were leaning towards the under, you had to go toward the over. That's the biggest problem as a handicapper because you have all the information here, but sometimes you have to make a guess. And sometimes as a gambler, you have to sit there and anticipate what's going on. Very difficult. In terms of the game last night, listen, the Suns won that game by 13 points, laying 5.5 to 6 points. I didn't really care if Giannis played or not because I just think the Suns offer matchup difficulties for the Bucks that they're not going to be able to overcome. Because when you look at the big three, or let's go even further, let's take it as the big four. You look at Giannis, you look at Middleton, who had 29, you look at Holiday, who I've never been impressed with Jrue Holiday, even from his days when he was back at the 76ers last night. Another subpar shooting game last night, 4 for 14 with 10 points. And then you look at Lopez, who had 17 points but was abused defensively because he doesn't have the athleticism at this stage of his career, maybe even when he was younger, to put up with the Suns. And they just abused him out there on the floor. In 23 minutes, 17 points and 6 rebounds. So you look at the big four for the Bucks and what they produced, forget about their bench. I mean, their bench has been subpar throughout the postseason. Last night, 22 total points. But then you look at what just the big three for the Suns did. I mean, Chris Paul was magnificent last night, but so was Devin Booker, combined 59 points. And then DeAndre Ayton, who has just been a revelation for how he's upgraded his game throughout this postseason, another monster performance last night with 22 points and 19 rebounds. Then you go with Bridges, who had 14, and normally you can count with all 5 starters getting in double figures. And Jay Crowder last night was the invisible man, 0 for 8 from the field, just 1 point. But again, you look at that bench, 22 points as Cam Johnson and Cameron Payne both had 10 each for Monty Williams' crew. It's just a matchup dilemma. The Bucks go small, Suns are fine with that. The Bucks go big, well, the Suns are going to abuse them. That is going to be a problem for the rest of this series. Okay, let's get to your complimentary plays tonight. I gave you the Phillies last night, and I'm going to come right back to give you the Phillies again here tonight. But listen, you have to look at this game a couple of different ways in terms of how you want to play it. I think at the bulk of the offshore sports books where you're going to be playing them, and I say offshore because most of these are going to be your local casinos and 22 betting states that you can go legally bet them. I think that you're going to be probably looking at playing the Phillies at 135 because you got Zach Wheeler on the hill. 135, maybe even 140. You're going to be paying a heavy, heavy price. Anywhere between 135, 140, do you want to be laying that price with Philadelphia? Or do you want to take Philadelphia and play them on the run line instead and turn Philadelphia into an underdog? And at those same books, take Philadelphia plus $1.20. Me personally, I would play Philadelphia on the run line again. This is a team that has scored 28 runs in the first 2 games of this series. This is an opponent in the Cubs that has just totally fallen apart. Chicago has lost 11 straight games. The Cubs have scored 35 runs in that 11-game stretch. 17 of those runs have come in 2 games. The other 9 games, they've scored 18 runs. Again, you MIT grads. That's 2 runs per game in the other 9 losses. Zach Wheeler has just been an incredible role. 2.08 earned run average in 6 May starts, 1.44 earned run average in 5 June starts. Last Friday at home against San Diego, a good hitting San Diego team, 7.2 innings, 4 hits, 0 runs, 9 Ks, 0 walks. 4 of his last 5 starts, he's put goose eggs up on the board. The reason he hasn't won more starts is because the Phillies bullpen has just been pathetic, and Joe Girardi has been a pathetic manager when it's come to managing his bullpen as well. But I think you go ahead and instead of laying $1.35, $1.40, $1.45, you play Philadelphia on the run line. That's the way I would play that game. On the afternoon card, I like Boston minus $1.30 at Anaheim against the LA Angels, who don't play in Los Angeles. I'm sorry, they're still the Anaheim Angels as far as I'm concerned. I like Eduardo Rodriguez here. Yes, the Red Sox lost last night, but they're still 27-16 on the road. Rodriguez had a miserable stretch of 7 starts where his earned run average went from 3.82 to 6.21. But in his last 2 starts, he's regained his early season form. Last Friday at Oakland, 6 innings, 1 hit, 0 runs, 6 Ks. His start prior to that at home against the Yankees, June 27th, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 8 Ks. Again, 7 starts before those 2, miserable. But I like when he kind of regains his form, which I think he has. He's a go-to guy, and that's what I'm going to go with him tonight. Yeah, they lost last night, but that was only their 2nd loss in the last 12 games. Meanwhile, Andrew Heaney is going for the Angels against the Yankees on his last start Tuesday, June 29th. 3 innings, 7 runs, 3 homers, 4 walks. And before that, his start before that one was against the Giants at home. 6 innings, 10 hits, 5 runs, 2 more home runs allowed. He has a 5.45 earned run average in 7 home starts. So again, I like the Red Sox minus $1.30. Of the 2 plays, just like yesterday, I think the Philadelphia Phillies are the better play on the run line. The Red Sox on the afternoon game would be the second of the 2 plays. That'll do it. And I wish you well, and we'll see what happens. Good luck, everybody.